You're watching the Action Film Writer Series.
7 in 1 Blow by Stuart Creque. Fade in. Exterior, hiking trail, day. Jack, 25, a slight, wiry man, lumbers along the trail under the burden of a heavy metal helmet, a steel breastplate, a huge sword hanging from his belt. He carries a sack by a shoulder strap. In back, embroidery on his belt reads, 7 in 1 blow. Jack reaches a place where the trail skirts off a cliff. He pauses, looks over the edge. In the village below, a crowd of villagers looks up to watch his progress. Jack. Oh, wonderful. An audience. Jack lets out a heavy sigh, resumes his trudge up the trail. His sword tip drags on the ground. He stops to hike up his belt and trousers. He walks on. Jack. 7 in 1 blow. What kind of idiots assume that means 7 men and not 7 flies? On the side of the trail lies a cow's carcass, crawling with black flies, its bones almost stripped bare. Jack sees it and shudders. As Jack passes the carcass, some flies attack Jack. With an amazingly quick series of movements, he pulls a fly swatter out of his sack, spins toward the flies, and flicks the swatter at blinding speed. On the ground at his feet, the flies drop into the dust. Jack. Well, at least I won't get bitten before the giant tears my head off. The trail winds into a dense copse of trees. The trees make a spacious tunnel with a high ceiling. Jack pulls his sword, uses it to feel his way forward in the twilight. Jack rounds a bend and sees the light at the end of the tunnel. He steps into the sunlight. The trail again overlooks the village. From the grove 30 yards ahead, the giant steps onto the trail. The giant, 16 feet tall, 6 feet wide at the shoulder, carries a club on his shoulder. Jack freezes in terror. The giant sees Jack and his sword. His laughter makes the ground tremble. This is who they send to assassinate me? Jack looks at his sword. He lowers the tip to the earth and holds the sword by the hilt, as if holding a dead rat by its tail. Jack. Oh, you think I'm here to kill you? Giant. You're not? The sword, the helmet, the armor. You're not on a camping trip. Ow! The giant slaps his own shoulder with his free hand. Jack notices that the movement stirs up a small cloud of black flies from the giant's neck. Jack. Well, I admit I was hired to kill you, but to tell you the truth, I really haven't got the stomach for it. As he replies, the giant scratches a persistent itch. Giant. An honest coward. That's refreshing. Damn. Another slap, another cloud of flies. Jack. The black flies are really terrible this year, huh? Giant. This and every year. More scratching. You seem a nice enough fellow. I can't tell you how many puffed up braggarts come up here to kill me. I mean, I could tell you if I took the time it took to go to my cave and count their skulls. Jack. No need to trouble yourself. The giant unslings the club from his shoulder. Jack sees that the club is a section of a fairly heavy log, smooth and tapered somewhat at one end for the giant's massive grip. Giant. I appreciate that. Look, I'll tell you what. I'll kill you quick, and when I throw your body down to that crowd, I'll leave your head attached. Jack. Well, that's awfully decent of you. The giant crouches into a fighting stance. Giant. No sense wasting time. Let's get this over with, shall we? Jack brings his sword back into fighting position. Jack. Must we? Giant. I insist. The giant lunges forward and swings his club. Jack tosses his head out of the club's path, sending his helmet tumbling to the ground. He springs forward as he tosses his sword aside and dives under the giant's outstretched arm. Jack somersaults past the giant and comes up facing the giant's back, the fly swatter in his hand. Before the giant has a chance to wheel around, Jack administers a flurry of slaps of the fly swatter to the giant's back. Dead black flies rain down. The giant turns to face Jack. Giant. Dropped your knife. Jack. This works better for what I intend. The giant swings the club again. Again, Jack nimbly dodges it. And again, Jack leaps back toward the giant and swats another 100 or so flies.